Hiya, I'm Camden, a tour guide in Washington, D.C. with Free Tours by Foot. We are here at the new Eisenhower Memorial. It is not very often that we get a brand new national memorial, so I'm very excited to show it to you guys. Now, when you think of Eisenhower, do you think of general, president, or barefoot boy from Kansas? Doesn't matter because this memorial represents him in all three iterations. Now, that's not without controversy. If you want to know more about the controversy, the original design, the background of this memorial, our podcast, Tour Guide Tell All, did a whole episode and video about that very topic. And a video should be popping up on your screen somewhere. Now that was back in May because this memorial was supposed to be dedicated on May 8th of this year. It would have been the 75th anniversary of Victory in Europe Day, World War II. Now COVID happened, so they pushed it back to September 17th, Constitution Day, which is a commemorative day that was established during Eisenhower's presidency. So let's talk about where we are. The memorial is just south of the National Mall. It's on the Independence Avenue southwest side of the National Air and Space Museum, and it's surrounded by federal buildings. You have the Department of Transportation, the FFA, Department of Education, all aspects of the federal government that were very important to Eisenhower. Aviation, transportation, education, three tenets of the Eisenhower presidency. Now the memorial itself is on Maryland Avenue Southwest. Now this is a historic roadway that was meant to continue unbroken the view of the United States Capitol building, and you can see that the memorial has maintained that. The memorial is more of an urban park. It's unlike our other memorials. There's many benches and places to sit. It really adds to, rather than detracts from, the surrounding cityscape. So now that you know where we are, let's head into the memorial. So we have at the start of the memorial this statue of Eisenhower as a young man, not barefoot, still in overalls. This was originally supposed to be the centerpiece of the memorial, but that was part of the controversy. How should they represent him? So a compromise was to keep the statue and to move him a little bit off to the side. Now he is kind of gazing off into the distance, looking at his future, general and president. And next to the statue is one of his famous speeches, the homecoming speech that he gave in Abilene, Kansas, his hometown, in 1945. This is the speech where he says that being from Abilene is one of his proudest moments, and he comes home and after the war and everyone has these hometown hero, welcome to our hero signs, and he says, I am not the hero. I am just a representation of the men that we and everyone in the United States sent over, and those are the heroes. Now Eisenhower was one of 6 boys from a family of modest means in Kansas, and he really credited education as to how he became the man we know him today, the general, the president. Now he went to West Point, but like many successful men and women, he wasn't necessarily the best of students. A couple of demerits, got written up a couple times. What he was good at was organizing and coaching and leadership. And those were skills that were recognized during World War II when Eisenhower became 5-star General Dwight D. Eisenhower, Supreme Commander of the Allied Expeditionary Forces during World War II. Now, so he is in charge of the military forces of all of the Allied nations, bringing them together to lead one of the largest, or the largest, seaborne invasion, D-Day, June 6th, 1945. Now, as we walk through the memorial, you'll notice that the entire length of the memorial is a metalwork tapestry. Now, it's kind of hard to tell what it is, and this really changes based on the time of day or the weather outside, but it is actually a hand drawing from the designer of the memorial, Frank Gehry. And what it is the beaches of Pointe du Hoc, one of the landing points during World War II, the Normandy D-Day invasion. What is missing, if you look closely, is there's no German battlements or fortifications, and there are no troops. This shows the beach as it is today, during a time of peace. The memorial is kind of chronological. So it starts with the young Eisenhower and makes its way inside, where we're going to see General Eisenhower next. Come with me. So this statue of Eisenhower, unlike the statue of him as a young man, which is life-size, these are larger than life. They're about 8 feet tall. This is Eisenhower talking to the men right before the invasion. This is based on a famous photograph from where he walked amongst the men. Now, his speech was printed and handed to the men waiting to cross the channel, and he read it aloud over the radio. But he knew the paratroopers would be facing the worst of the battle, so he met with them in person. He walked amongst them, trying to find another young man from Kansas. Behind him is the relief of the beaches of Normandy, and a line from that famous speech. The tide has turned.
The free men of the world are marching together to victory.
Now, if you look closely, the statues, they're all bronze, but they're all white men. During World War II, the military was not yet fully integrated. But let's cross over to Eisenhower, the president. As you look at the figures, he is flanked by his advisors, military and civilian. Of the 2 civilian advisors that are on his right-hand side, the one closest to him, the one with the briefcase, is a black man. Eisenhower signed the Civil Rights Act of 1957 and finished integrating the military. In fact, he returned to the 101st Airborne when he sent them to Alabama to help integrate the schools. There's a world map behind Eisenhower. He focused on both domestic and international policy in his 2 terms. Eisenhower did not originally want to be president, but in 1952, we're at war with North Korea, tensions are heavy with the Soviet Union and China, and Eisenhower became uneasy with the path the country was on. There was a grassroots effort to recruit him, and a simple campaign slogan, "I like Ike."
Ike for president, Ike for president, Ike for president, Ike for president. You like Ike, I like Ike, everybody likes Ike for president. Hang out the banners, beat the drum.
And the people did. He won a decisive victory in 1953 and an easy one for the next term. Now, one thing that you might miss if you were just walking around this memorial without a tour guide is that you're also meant to go around the sets of statues. Around the backs of both General and President Eisenhower, you will also find some of his well-known speeches. Eisenhower was an excellent writer. In fact, he had a hand in a lot of his own speeches. During the 1930s, so before World War II, publisher William Randolph Hearst offered Eisenhower a job as a wartime correspondent with his publications. Hearst offered Eisenhower 3 times Eisenhower's current salary at the time. Eisenhower obviously and thankfully declined that job offer. Who knows what the world would be like if Eisenhower was reporting on World War II rather than leading it. Now come with me to one final stop. So the westernmost column, that was for General Eisenhower. And here in the eastern column, we have President Eisenhower, 34th President, 1953 to 1961. Above it, this is the image of the American silver dollar, which features the profile of Eisenhower. So throughout the entire memorial, and probably your history books, we know him as Dwight D. Eisenhower. Did you know that's not actually his name? Or at least according to his birth certificate, which says David Dwight Eisenhower. His mom switched them after his birth so he wouldn't be confused with the David that he was named after. Also, Eisenhower's grandson was named David. That is who the presidential retreat Camp David is named after. So the more you know. Dwight D. Eisenhower, David Dwight Eisenhower, Ike, if you will. This memorial ends kind of with the park ranger station where you can get that all-important passport stamp on your national parks passport. There are so many memorials in Washington, D.C., and we at Free Tours by Foot would love to show them to you, be they in person on a guided National Mall walking tour, or online on one of our virtual tours. Be sure to subscribe to our channel, click that bell so you get notifications when we post a new video. More upcoming from DC, but also New Orleans and New York and Prague and London. If you have any questions or comments about the Eisenhower Memorial, Washington, D.C., life in general, let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer them for you. If you know anyone who is visiting Washington, D.C. in the future, be sure to share this video with them so they know to come visit this new site. I'm Camden. This is Free Tours by Foot. Stay calm, walk on, and I'll see y'all next time.
I for president, I for president, I for president, I for president. You like I like I. Everybody likes I for president. Hang out the